Hello and welcome to another edition of I Don't Normally Watch That here on JLJ Media. Hi, I'm one of your hosts, and normally I'm your only host on here. But I said to you guys early on in the series, I will bring on people who actually watch some of the things that I don't normally watch. And my first guest on the series is totally appropriate, and this makes total sense if you know me or know us in our history. I call her my Lady Boss Queen. She is somebody that I worked with for so long, for years as a producer and as a creator. We, of course, do on this network, which we will return when the show returns for season 8. We do the When Calls to Heart after show. We also do the When Hope Calls after show on here, too. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching them recently. You guys have been watching them recently, so thank you and listening to them. So we appreciate that. But she's doing other stuff now, but occasionally I can rope her back in and say, come on in and do a show with me. And her thing is Hallmark Channel movies. And she's a Hallmarky. And she's my buddy, Marisa Serafini. Hi, Marisa.
Hello, James. Yes, I'm excited to talk Hallmark yet again. I mean, I kind of admittedly, when I saw your schedule, I kind of volunteered myself already to be on the show. I didn't really ask you. I was like, so when are you doing and what are you talking about? And I was like, all right, make sure it's a day that works for me. So
she did actually. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But she knew the schedule. She works on this beautiful schedule, which is online on JLJ Media. But this is my little thing that I use to go by.
Oh, you proved it. Very nice.
Yes, but she did a great job. So I want to thank her for that. So everybody, of course, this is JLJ Media. It's our Christmas time. We're doing here. We started this with my Mistletoe Road, my series, which is on every streaming service you can think of, and goes through to January 1st. So we have all kinds of wonderful programming, from the Star Wars to soap operas to this Hallmark movies. We're going to talk about the Christmas House, but before we talk about that movie, I do want to talk a little bit about the Hallmark Channel movie world a little bit, because I normally don't watch that. And I want to clarify something for people, because people ask me, well, but James, don't you like Hallmark? Let me clarify this really quick. I love people at Hallmark. We know, Marissa and I know some of the folks behind that in Crown Media. We love them. They support our show. We do for I'm a hearty, and I'm a hopeful. If you guys know what those are, look them up. No. That just means I'm a fan of 2 of the series on Hallmark. I'm not really a Hallmarky. I don't watch anything else on Hallmark Channel. It's just not for me. But I like the shows, the 2 shows that we talked about that they produce. And so I have nothing against it. It's not my thing. I look at it as comfort food. And and that everybody has their own comfort. I watch the soaps. I come from that world, and a lot of folks don't watch those. So I'm just saying that. So I told myself, since I know Jonathan Bennett, who was one of the stars in the film, because they actually included 2 gay characters on it, I said I'm going to give it a shot and watch it. So you'll hear my insightful commentary on that by Marisa. But I want to talk to Marisa because Marisa likes the Hallmark movie brand. My mother likes it too. So Marisa, what is it about the Hallmark Christmas movies that you enjoy?
I love them because they, like you said, they're comfort food, but they're also very easily digestible. You can watch 1, 2, 3. I mean, I watched up to 6 a day. But that's just me personally. I think they're very easy to watch and digest throughout the day, and they make you feel good at the end of the day. And I think it's just a matter of they're easy to process, they're easy to watch. You can talk about it with your friends and family, and there's so many of them. And the great thing about Christmas time on Hallmark is that yes, they have all their 40 plus movies that they're releasing this year of 2020, putting a stamp on the show, but within the times that they're not airing the new ones, they're re-airing all the past ones. So there's constant Christmas around, and a lot of them, there's a big rewatchability factor for a lot of them. And I think that's great because you can see actors and actresses paired up with each other and repaired with each other or paired up with someone else. And you can see the same community of actors with different people and how they swap and all that. And in kind of interchangeable in that way. Different kind of stories, but all following the same type of, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but definitely a format.
A template.
Yeah, a template, a format that hits the emotional beats and with conflict, character developments in every movie. And I think, yes, you can say it's very repetitive, but it's still good because you keep watching it over and over, kind of knowing what's going to happen. But every once in a while, there's a twist, and you're like, oh, didn't see that. That's new. Out of the hundreds of plus movies that they release, you're like, that's original. All right, I like it. So I think that's my long-winded way of saying, oh, the Hallmark Christmas movies, they make you feel good. They're easy to digest and very rewatchable.
Well, think about, you brought up some points that are that I am impressed with. They really put together a lot of films. I mean, so they're employing a lot of actors. I mean, that's one thing that I do like a lot. And you're right. You see some of your favorite actors from different shows paired together in a movie. You're like, oh. I will admit, for me, and it's a total machine. That's why I love it. It's a whole machine. They have it all down. Right. For me, I have watched the Robin Jones Gunn movies, the Father Christmas movies, because that's our buddy. We know Robin Jones Gunn, and her movies, of course, star one of our favorites, Aaron, from When It Calls to Heart. So I've watched those. And I also did watch, because I love her so much, Pascal Hutton. I did watch The Perfect Bride. Was that it? I can't see. They all sound alike to me. I can't remember the titles. But I watched that once. I was in Chicago, actually, your old stomping grounds. And I needed something to watch on TV I didn't want to think. I was there for a meeting. So I wanted to just not have to really think. I put it on. I did. I mean, it was easy to digest. I completely watched it for like 2 hours, and it was fine, and happy ending, and they were cute in it. And so I want to make sure I have watched those. But again, I guess I watch these shows when I either know somebody or I'm there specifically. Maybe that's what I do. But the plots are all kind of similar. But the machine is amazing. Hallmark Channel is the only cable network that actually is gaining in viewership every year, every quarter. They were like the number one for the last quarter of basic cable. I mean, like, they really hit something, didn't they, Marissa? I mean, like, lucrative. They've hit something.
They definitely hit a niche. That romantic comedy-esque, format that women and people are like, and not just women, but like everyone just keeps watching over and over and over again, literally every single year. And like, they have their formula and they're sticking to it. And God bless them for still doing it, especially in this year with all the restrictions when it comes to production. And like, and me, I've actually done production, so I know what the behind the scenes is like when you step onto set. It's completely different with the restrictions and everybody, the social distancing. How can you film a movie when there's literally 50 plus people, filming something? Somehow they still do it for 40 plus movies. So God bless them for like still figuring it out and still pumping it out and not blinking at all, and like and not missing a beat.
I'll tell you something. I just did Let's Make a Deal a couple weeks ago, and it was my first time on set in 8 months. I had been on set, and I'll tell you, folks, Marissa's right. I mean, they have it down to a science on the stage. I was out in Van Nuys or whatever. I sound like I was way out there somewhere. Anyway, so the stage was like we were in pods. We had to get our temperature taken, wore a mask before we got on set. Got on set, we were spread out. There was no audience. We had they take mask off, put mask on, take mask. It was a whole thing. Things were wiped down. But they made it work. I mean, they made it work. So I mean, it's a lot of extra work they have to do right now to bring us entertainment. So I mean, just to bring us entertainment, they're going to these lengths to make sure that everyone is safe. So I appreciate that very much. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And I was only on set for like 3 hours. It wasn't that long, but I watched how all the maneuver, all the things. So I can only imagine on these movies. Oh, that's stuff they have to do and everything, but it's amazing. So I appreciate it.
Production's a puzzle, and I think that's why I like it so much. There's so many moving parts, and yet in the end of the day, you get this finished product that like somehow it got created.
I know, it is kind of crazy how that all comes together. It always does. But yeah, so I want to say I have watched a few over time, and now I would say that, and there's certain actors I like, so I may tune in or think about it at least, because I like that actor or actress, because I know them from other things. But yeah, a lot of times, our girl Jen Lilly, who we're friends with, I mean, she has a lot of these now, and I mean, it's just there's some good stuff. Allison Sweeney, there's a lot of stuff. So
it was funny because Allison and Jen literally both had movies that aired this past week, and I texted Jen, and I told her like how much I love the movie. I literally watched USS Christmas twice in 24 hours. It's so good. It's so good. And then I was like, girl, I love it. It's amazing. And she's like, oh, thanks.
And the thing is, I do support that. Like I said, I want Jen
Yeah,
Lilly.
of course.
I want also. I mean, these people. I want these are my friends. I want them to like be out there taking care of business and get grab those movies. I mean, it's they're made for them. And I also like the one thing I also like about Hallmark Channel in general. Um, they use how do I say this? I'm a little older than Marissa, and
Just a little.
a little older. And I like that they use mature actors as leads in many of their productions. Like the
Mhm.
age range is not just young 20 somethings all the time in every movie. I do see a diversity in age when it comes to these films. That's one thing I did like too. And it's funny, in all these movies too, people show up, you're like, oh, you're in here. Oh, you're like, it's kind of, it's that part was kind of a fun factor too. And that, like with this movie too, which I'll talk about in a second, who showed up, I was like, oh, I know her. Oh, I know him. It was kind of fun to see them working. I like that.
Right, and I have to applaud Hallmark, for giving the different age ranges of actors and still giving them jobs. But this year, especially for 2020, they have gotten more diverse in people of color, and I have to applaud them because I've watched every new Christmas movie so far
You have.
this season of Hallmark, and I've seen like 6 Asians, and I
Oh,
cannot tell you, yeah, in like 6 different movies, and I cannot tell you over the last 6 years I've maybe have only seen 2 Asians, and that's no joke. And I'm not underestimating whatsoever. So something about 2020 that they're like, let's be more inclusive. Let's add gay couples. There's a lesbian couple. There's an Asian lead character. There are more Black folks in African American diversity. So just people of color in Hallmark in the lifetime that I've seen of these movies. They're now starting to like really, I don't want to say get with the times, but like just be more inclusive that we need to, especially the time that we are now, 2020.
You know, Marissa and I know Marissa will agree with me on this. Representation matters. To see yourself represented on television does matter. It's very important. And I think, and everyone, like Marissa made a point earlier, everyone I know from wide variety of folks watch these movies. It's not just Midwestern white folks, sitting there. I have a lot of my Black family members love these films. They don't care who stars them, they love them. And it's like, so that's the power of Hallmark. That's the power of story. So to have some Black folks as a lead, why not? It's because we're watching, we're tuning in, we're giving you the ratings, we're tuning in, we're helping your advertisers. So, have some Asians in a film. It won't hurt you. I mean, I don't think it's funny because I saw one, I didn't watch it, but it was interracial. I think it was black and white. I think it
Yep,
was. And I was like, what?
there's couples now.
I'm like, what?
They're mixing it up. It's like a cookie batter, and they're finally mixing in better ingredients.
Yeah, but we'll talk about this too. And a lot of it I've been seeing is the reaction from people. It's been kind of mixed. I've seen some wonderful stuff, and of course, the usual we always hear. But we want to see diversity. Marissa and I want to see diversity. And When Calls the Heart did add a Black family on there this next season. So I'm very curious to see how they fit into Hope Valley and what
Right.
their role is. When Hope Calls opened with a Black woman who was part of one of the cast, and it was just matter of fact. There was no. So I'm curious to see. I'm curious. I mean, it may have taken 8 seasons for One Call Start to do it, but but I'm like, okay, I see you.
Well, we got your folks in there. We still need mine. The Asians are still there in Canada. Just saying.
They are. Well, we saw them too. We were there. We saw them. We were there.
Continental Railroad that was there 60, 70 years before 1915 even started. So
I agree with that.
slowly getting there. That's a whole nother topic.
It's on a topic, which I just want to say, but you mentioned, I just want to say that people who watch these shows are very diverse. It's a very diverse audience who watch. So why not reflect that on TV? So The Christmas House, a film where everybody comes home, the two sons come back home. The one is so funny. You look at this movie and I was like, I recognize you. I recognize you. I recognize, like, at first I know the names. It took me a while to get the names. But like, oh, Robert Buckley. He was in like 4 series I used to like. Oh, Treat Williams. Of course, he's been around for a long time. Oh, that chick. She's that girl in that thing. Like, it's kind of funny because you recognize like all these folks in this movie. You're like, oh, okay. With some new folks. And I love this whole kind of comedy thing. The Handsome Justice show is kind of funny. And that he's an actor. So we get his little story. Then we have the gay couple, which we get a little bit of their story, and they're trying to have an adoption. And I thought the way they introduced them was just very matter of fact. It was no fanfare. It was no after school special moments. It was complete as like, to me, like real life in many families where it doesn't really doesn't matter. Like,
Right, and I liked how they introduced the gay couple because it was more like we are a couple, we are together. This is our conflict that we're trying to get over. In this movie, literally in the first 5 minutes, we see them. We're like, okay, we understand who they are. They're together and they're trying to start.
there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just matter of fact, and it was very face value. Like, okay, they're quickly established. Next story.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of like that. It was just like, this is 2020 at this point. We don't need to have this huge thing made out of it. In many families, coming out already came out already. Obviously, they've been together for a while. So that's what's kind of a stat. It's kind of alluded to. They've been together for a while. It was more about the brothers being playful and silly and coming together in the very beginning. I liked that. Because again, many people have siblings that are straight and gay. They get along fine. They get along fine. And that was just kind of, it was more about coming home. So the premise was coming home to create the Christmas house. That was the thing.
Yeah, and I really like the Christmas. We'll get into it, but like really quickly before I forget, I just want to say when they established the tone of the film. Usually, this movie aired on the Movies and Mysteries channel, which is like more the drama, the more like heavy hitting drama.
Okay, yeah.
You're more bound to cry in a Christmas movie that airs on, Movies and Mysteries channel rather than regular Hallmark. And just the way that this movie was established, it felt like a regular Hallmark movie, not a very, very serious drama movie. So I was kind of surprised, or I just really questioned why they put it on the Movies and Mysteries instead of the regular channel.
I wonder because of the subject matter, they think it'd be safer to put it on there. I don't know. Is there a distinction between I know it's 2 or 3 channels. Is there a distinction between channels?
Well, Hallmark drama airs like all past old stuff that are like older than 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Goes on Hallmark drama, but like Hallmark mysteries and movies is more like the tearjerker kind of like, oh my goodness, there's death involved or something, or like something serious, more heavy.
Yeah.
Usually airs on Movies and Mysteries, and this movie was surprisingly, it felt lighter in tone. Yeah. So I was just surprised it was on Movies and Mysteries and not the regular Hallmark channel, which is more like light, feel good,
Well, there was an undertone though throughout the movie though. There's something was going on with mom. I knew something was going on with her. I was like, something's going on with her. And I was just like, okay, obviously it'll be revealed. And it was like, oh well, she's not really happy because her husband, they're retired. She's kind of bored. He's got his own life. I mean, I was like, okay. And actually, that was realistic to me. That's realistic. My mother went through the same thing. My stepfather, he's a little older than her, retired first. It had his whole thing. So by the time she retired, he had kind of his little routine set up, and she was always like, the job, the kids. So I get. So it was very realistic. I thought it was realistic. We know how that is.
Right, and and just saying as a normal viewer, and you might not know this, but also just for a Hallmark thing, they usually go with it. I mean, it was kind of surprising that they were doing like a pre-separation. I mean, they were alluding to they were going to separate.
Yeah, they were.
And Hallmark being like such a Christian base and undertone of those values, like divorce, is kind of taboo a bit. It's more acceptable to accept a family death, which is the reason why like couples are separated or split, because death is more acceptable than a divorce.
Yes.
So to write a story about a separation that could lead into a divorce, I was surprised that they were going that route, because they usually very, very rarely do they actually talk about divorce.
Yeah. What's interesting also about this was the gay couple held hands. They called each other babe. It was just very natural. And I was just like, this is interesting. It just reminded me back to, for me, Will and Grace, where Will, for a long time, the criticism was he didn't have a boyfriend. And I felt like, and they always said, because he was a lead in a primetime, folks, in the 90s, this was the 90s, folks, primetime show, they wanted to ease you into it, kind of get you used to him, fall in love with him as a person. Then introduce it. So I thought this is way different now, 2020. It was just like, hey babe, there's this, and they were very just like normally affectionate with each other. I didn't see anything extraordinary, but even for me, I was like, oh, they're holding hands all of a sudden. Oh, he called her babe. I mean, I did not expect that in this movie. I wasn't sure how watered down it might be, and it really wasn't that watered down. Not to me, it wasn't that watered down.
Well, it wasn't no, and not to jump ahead, but the very first kiss in this movie was a gay couple
I
kiss,
know.
which is honestly, I think it made history for being Hallmark's first gay couple, actually on couple gay kiss
Oh,
screen
okay.
on screen kiss. So I was very surprised, and I had to applaud. I was like, all right, Hallmark, being very very progressive, because I mean, Will and Grace aired in '98. We are now 22 years past that. And I'm like, and now we're finally getting a gay couple on Hallmark. It's like we're a little slow with the times in that sense. So I just applaud that they're finally like getting up to speed. And like our generation now, we're so used to it. We're so used to seeing it in everyday life. So why not also see it on screen?
Yeah, that's true. It's. I know that some older generations didn't care for it. And I totally understand. I get it. I
I know.
totally get it. But it's like, but you're not catering just to them. It's like you have to kind of evolve and move with the times. And I think, I don't think it was. I mean, I know someone wants to see too many kids, but I don't think it was anything disgusting. It wasn't like over the top. It wasn't. I mean, it was still Hallmark. It was still Hallmark.
Done tastefully and respectfully, and just in context with the storyline that's going on, and it's two people in this very real couple waiting for a real family to start, and it was a very very earned moment.
Yeah, it was. And then the other side of that, we have Mr. Single Man. This sounds so familiar in other movies I've seen of Hallmark. Comes back to town. There was a girl he grew up with, of course, Miss Andy. Okay, here's the thing for me. Now I'm part Latino, so I know we come in every shade and size and color and look. I had no idea she was Latina until halfway through the movies, all of a sudden they're making tamales. I was like, she's Latina, and her son Noah. They did not look. I mean, you can look that way. Yes, I say you can look however you want. I'm just saying that it wasn't so. It was like, oh, I mean, I just didn't know that.
I forgot when I was watching the movie for the second time. I forgot when we finally get to the family making dinner and tamales. I was like, oh yeah, she is I was gonna say Philly. She is Latina, because I mean, yeah, in a way, that's kind of an interracial
Yeah,
relationship
it
too,
is. It is.
and like which I was expecting, and nothing wrong with that, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I know me too. I was like, I just because they didn't go the route of finding somebody who obviously was Latino looking or had the name. There was no the name. But I know she was divorced. They mentioned she was divorced.
Right.
But they didn't.
It was
So
very
again,
subtle. It was a very subtle, just like, oh yeah, this is just a girl we grew up with, and then once we saw her family, we're like, oh, oh.
yes,
It was kind of like a grenade kind of realization.
yes, exactly. And but I have to say that this part, sorry, Hallmark, this is the part that always just kind of bugged me a little bit. Just how heavily and how just obvious they try to push them together. It was kind of like they had the usual banter, not the full on. They didn't like each other. It wasn't like that. Thank God it wasn't like that. That's a cliche thing too. They don't like each other. They're just more like it was a banter. And then everybody's like, "You should be with her. You should be like." They were all pushing them together. It's like, stop pushing them together.
Right.
Or not.
And I just wanted to ask you, did you see the chemistry between these two actors? Nothing with the storyline.
Right.
I just like these two actors on screen, I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
Honestly, I was way more interested in the gay couple
I
and
know.
the storyline. I was like, okay, that's great for you. It's like this girl that you liked when you were a teenager, but does she still like you? I don't know. Nor do I really care.
I know. I didn't see any chemistry either. I was just like, I mean, both good looking folks and everything, great actors, all that stuff, but I just didn't. I liked her character. I liked his character. They just didn't. And they both were kind of hilarious. He was really Robert Buckley's name. He was really funny. I liked him. I liked him in this role. I thought he was really good in it. Switching on the acting thing and the overacting thing, and when he was doing the whole commercial for it, and so it was kind of cute. It was cutesy. I wrote down cutesy, that's what I wrote. Cutesy. But I didn't see chemistry between them. But so I kept saying everybody kept pushing them together. It's almost like I almost wish they didn't get together. I almost wish that they just were friends. They became friends, and they became friends like with the son. Like I liked that part a little bit. But it's like we don't know her story. See, this is me thinking we don't know her. Where's the father? We don't know her story. All of a sudden, where he's just gone. They got divorced. I mean, I was like, where's all that?
Right. And it just kind of seemed like a relationship of convenience because they're just circling in the same circles in the same atmosphere now. Just because you see someone from your past that who you like doesn't mean that you should get back with them now. Yes, there were a lot of moments where both of them were reminiscing of
Right.
them, performing when they were younger on stage. And that's like what really started their romance, so to speak. But like, I just didn't see, there wasn't enough moments as them as adults like having a proper date, falling back in love. There wasn't enough of that on screen time where I'm like, yeah, I'm really rooting for these two.
You're right, they didn't do that. They didn't go on a date.
No, there were more montages, more screen time for building the Christmas house than building this relationship.
That's true. They really didn't go out. He brought her coffee to her job that one time, I think. The coffee, I think it was.
She brought hot chocolate to them while they were bringing.
That's right. Would have been out. That was it. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm drinking hot chocolate now. Are you falling in love with me? Probably not.
Every day, Marissa. Every day.
Thanks, James.
I mean, come on, Marissa. Of course, who could not fall in love with you? Come on. Sorry, Fred.
Legitimate hot chocolate. Yeah, don't.
I do. I'm totally sober. It's just hot chocolate. Also, it's not anything crazy.
Don't tell Fred that.
We love Fred. Sorry, Fred. No, but I agree. It did feel that's like, it's funny you felt the same because I didn't know if this was a normal thing. It just felt like they were just. I mean, he's trying to talk with his brother about something going on with their mom, which I thought that was a really cool talk. But he's just going, well, it's just you feeling this way. What about the girl? I'm like, why are you going back to the girl? It's like you talk to your mother is going through something, and you're thinking he's crazy. And I love what he said. Well, I'm not looking for anything right now. I'm just trying to figure this out. Like. I'm like, why are you pushing so hard? I'm like your mom, there's something wrong with your family. And then later he was right, obviously, when he talked to his mom. But it's like, it just felt so weird. They were so focused on that magic stuff and them getting together.
Yeah, it was so much magic with the kid trying to learn magic. And hopefully like that would be like reflecting and paralyzing when he was a young child with his father. I only know them by their actors' names.
Yeah.
Like Williams, and then how much time that he put in as a father learning all those magic tricks. So, but like there were just a lot of factors that he had to worry about with his show being canceled, the house being sold and being put up on the market, their parents separating. Like he had a lot of different problems, and I didn't want to focus on.
Right. You know, time for a chick right now. He's busy trying to handle all this other stuff. I mean, his
trying to save his personal life and his family and his house. And like,
there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And it's like the girl. I'm like,
home to. That is a lot to process.
That is. You're right. It is. Like, hello. He's trying to figure that out. So I'm glad you felt that. I felt the same way. But you watch these movies when I do. But I just felt like that was a little jarring. I was actually really interested in the parents. I want to know more when they had a couple of scenes that were really interesting, and I was like, by the side, I know this is Hallmark, so it's not like Lifetime or AMC or something. But I was like, I wanted to figure out more because they had that one talk about the one, I guess the one couple moving, and she's like, you didn't tell me. And he's like, well, I didn't do it on purpose. I just forgot to tell you. I was like, that's realistic. To me, that's realistic. They're growing apart somehow.
They're not sharing everything, like everyday life and conversations. Like there's an actual drift, and they're drifting apart, and there's like actual distance between them, that like something so small such as minute detail that would be probably brought up in normal conversation, they're not even normally talking to each other anymore.
No.
That's when it all starts.
And it's natural, and I want to actually a little more of that, or them rallying, or the boys rallying around them to get their parents to kind of stay together and work out the house thing. But it's like, it was more about get him a woman, get together. I'm like, it just felt really, what's the word I'm looking for? Heavy-handed a little bit for me. But I wasn't sure if that's normal or not. I wasn't sure for how long was that normal or not.
Right. I don't want to say forced, but it just doesn't, it's more like, oh, so we had the gay couple, now this is the straight couple.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the whole formula that we know of, like, oh, the girl that you grew up with and the one that got away. So naturally, you're back together. This is your second chance.
Yeah.
Go get her.
Go get her, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But I just thought that was the one time I was like, a little much for me. But in the end, I mean, of course, they had some mishaps. Then it's like, then at this part of the movie, I was like, this seems like something Hallmark would do. All the power goes, the lights blow out. What are they going to do? They have to rally together. You know, we like that family coming together, community coming together to make the Christmas house happen. The house happens.
And I'm just like, if Clark Griswold can light up his house for an entire movie, so can they. Like, we knew that wasn't like gonna be the biggest issue. Yeah, you blew a fuse. Just go to the fuse box and reset the switch. It's really not that hard.
That's so funny. You said, Clark, that's a whole different type of movie series right there, which I love, but it's a whole different type of movie series. But yeah, it was just that. It's like, to me, it's like, isn't that natural though? They have a conflict, they have to have a big conflict where everybody kind of has to come together.
And that's not even like the biggest conflict that we've seen in Hallmark movies. There have been like ginormous mistakes that characters have made, and you're like, oh, that's the conflict. They have to like spend the next 20 minutes of the movie really making up for them.
Really?
This is the quickest fix of a conflict. So I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, it was resolved in 2 minutes?
Yeah, well, no, it's resolved. But wait, so on Hallmark, how deep do they get? I mean, it's not your experience.
They can get deep. Sometimes it's about like betrayal of a business plan went awry, or a misheard conversation, or mistimed type of communication. It's usually something, either like story development or a character development. This was a situational development, like an external factor that was quickly resolved by people.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it wasn't like the biggest conflict. It wasn't a reflection of a character making making a character look bad and whatever. It was a simple fix kind of problem.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of interesting. Humor abounds. It had humor throughout it, which was nice. To me, it's a comedy drama of a dramedy, as they say sometimes. That was fine. I mean, it was annoying. And everything worked out in the end. The couple, they got a kid. Andy and the lead guy got together. The mom and them are staying together. So it all kind of worked out in the end, which is what I expected.
And the house was bought by Mark, which I thought was completely predictable. I was like, okay, he's not going back to LA, so he's staying there. Where is he gonna live? Oh, let me buy my parents' house that is conveniently on the market.
Yeah, we knew that.
We knew that was gonna.
It doesn't happen. But again, I guess it's still a happy ending for folks. They want to have a happy ending because 2020 we some happy endings. So I get that. So, but everything was resolved. It was cutesy, and we saw the baby at the very end. They were doing a little thing at the end. You saw the baby, and they were sitting around the table. So I mean, after the show was over, it was feel good. I kind of started laughing a little bit. It was like, oh, okay, I watched a Hallmark movie that had some gayness in it. But it was a typical Hallmark film. I felt, and it was fine. I mean, it's harmless to me. It's harmless. It was fine. I guess that's the best I can say. I don't know if I'll start watching Hallmark Christmas movies anymore, but it was like that one. I don't have regrets watching it. I don't normally watch that. I watched it.
I mean, I think the only one that really honestly sets it apart is that it has a gay couple in it, which are like an actual focus. That's like one of the main stories in the movie. And I think that's what makes a Christmas house different from all the others that are so, bread and butter.
Yeah.
The normal template and formula of Hallmark. I mean, it's good, and I don't want to say it's not the worst and it's not the best, but it hits, this particular movie hits all the emotional beats of a regular Hallmark movie.
Okay, that makes sense. I read something. Excuse me, my hot chocolate.
Die.
Excuse me. I read some of the reactions, of course, because I wanted to see what the reactions were. And at first, I saw a bunch of really great reactions. Because first I saw reactions by folks that we know, many of our Hardys and Hallmarkers that we follow. Many of them were wonderful. They were like, it was a great film. Yay, Jonathan Bennett, who played one of the gay leads, the gay brother. He's great. Of course, we love him from Mean Girls and everything. We know we love him from that. So he has a fan base. But I saw a lot of folks who were just like, good for Hallmark. That was fine. That was a good film. They liked it. It was all big thing. Then I saw it, folks. I saw two reactions other than that. The one reaction was from other gays who thought it wasn't gay enough and thought that the characters were still ancillary characters, like we don't know more about them than we do anything else. But I kept saying we don't know much about any of them really. To me, no one was told. Like, actually, let me say this disclaimer. I understand when you are a minority, when you finally get something, you want everything, obviously, because for so long you don't, and Marissa knows this too. You don't have representation. So I actually don't want to down anybody. I know they want it more. I totally get it. But as we work in television, as we know how life works, you got to ease into it sometimes. It's Hallmark Channel, so what we got, I'm satisfied with. And in relation to the other characters, we don't know much about any of them really. Like we didn't really learn that much about them. So I felt like it wasn't any different. But folks were upset there was enough, but it wasn't enough of them. But they didn't really have their own story, kind of compared to the others. Like, well, the main story was, I guess, the guy coming back home, this actor. Like, isn't he the lead? I thought he was kind of the lead out of everybody. And then the other one was, of course, the hatred part. I'm not gonna watch Hallmark anymore. So you got all this gay stuff on TV. So that segment, I really knew it was going to happen. I wasn't surprised by that. But it was the other one where it's kind of like, it wasn't gay enough, or wasn't this enough? I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, I can understand why they say it's not gay enough, because like you said, this is more of a Hallmark's introduction to gay characters. We do have to slowly ease into that. And now we finally have seen a couple on screen. We've seen them kiss. We've seen a storyline. Now we can slowly start building more movies around gay couples. And I would love to see a movie of the two main leads, they're a gay couple coming together.
I agree.
Or even for women, for lesbians. I mean, like,
yeah.
We had a movie a few weeks ago with Hallmark, and it was very, very brushed over. But there was a side character having a crush on another woman who worked, I think, at the diner or something. And the main character was like, "Ooh, you should go ask her out." Like they were encouraging this lesbian couple, and it got to the point where they accepted, like, "Oh, I'm going on a date. Hopefully it goes good." And that was it. It was very, very brushed over. It was introduced. We didn't delve into it. So Hallmark is still in the introductory phases.
I agree.
Of seeing gay and lesbian couples on the screen. And then eventually we'll slowly get into the other alphabets of the LGBTQ and all of those characters into the movies. And I don't want to compare. I really don't. But I watched a lot of Lifetime Christmas movies too, and just Lifetime movies in general. They've had gay characters, trans, queens, for years now. So Hallmark is actually very, very, very behind. So and I know the Hallmark is slowly getting there. It's baby steps.
Yeah.
But at least it's in a good direction. It really is.
I know. I agree. Everything Rich said, I agree with. And I just think we have to start somewhere. And, there's times when to me, it wasn't a bad portrayal. So it wasn't like they didn't assassinate them or do anything bad with them. So I'm like, this is it's a positive on-screen portrayal. I will take those. More of those. I don't care if they're 10 minutes long, 5 or whatever. I'll take more of those as we move forward. That still helps the cause. It still helps with diversity. So like we said, get more Black folks, get more Asian, get more South Asian, get more, whatever, get everybody we need on these screens. Because there are a lot of great actors out there who can portray these stories no matter what they look like. I mean,
I know.
They still it's almost this whole thing of we don't need a Crazy Rich Asians every 5 years to make everybody go, oh my God, Asians can act. They can lead movies. It's like say to the women, like women can lead movies. Like we need to stop doing all that. Just put out good story, good production value, great actors of whatever they are.
Absolutely.
So Hallmark's getting there. Hallmark's getting there, folks. And so that
slowly.
Slowly, but they're getting there. We're getting there.
But like I said, in a very good direction.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's I don't normally watch that. So here on JLJ Media. I want to thank Marisa Serafini for being on the show. Thanks, girl. I love doing shows with you.
Thanks, James.
I love the show. Well,
I love the part I'm there anytime you want to talk Hallmark.
Yes, she is, and she will be, and we will be back when Close Heart announces their season 8 premiere. And that season, we'll be doing it here on JLJ Media. And I know that when Hope Calls, still Marissa has no.
Still no real definitive word.
No,
So
it's so
up
crazy.
in there.
And I like the series. We liked it. I mean, I really grew to like it. I wanted to continue.
It's good, and we know in the off season there's been a lot of executive changes of the show too. So I think they're switching people around and like revamping the writing staff and stuff like that. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, so we don't quite know what's all happening. And then thanks to COVID, which put
True.
all productions on hold, we really don't know.
But I really enjoyed that series, and it was very different tone than When Calls to Heart. So that's why I liked it. They're two different shows. They really became two different shows.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but if that comes back, we'll probably do that one too. If that comes back, we'll be talking about that also, and everything that's going on there. Marisa Serafini, tell them where they can find you on the social media platforms.
Everyone can follow me at Serafini TV.
That's right, kids. Only one. And you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. It is JLJ Media Christmas. Every day we have something new coming out that's Christmas related. So check JLJ Media on all social media platforms. We're everywhere for the schedule. I keep reposting them, so you'll see the schedule almost every day. But check those out. And I'm working on a website right now. I'm working on a website for everything. So that's just kind of like in the works. It just takes time, folks. We're doing that. But also, JLJ Media is on YouTube. It's my online network with 35 shows. You can watch any of them anytime. Subscribe while you're there. The button's down here somewhere. There's like a red button down there or over there or somewhere that way. It's like, it's a red button.
Anyway.
And then the audio version of this, thank you, audio podcast listeners, is on every streaming audio service you can think of, from Spotify to iHeartRadio to Google, Apple, Castbox, everywhere. So just look under JLJ Media, or I don't normally watch that, and watch these. And if anybody wants to share this with anybody, share it, please. Or anybody thinks to see this or hear this, if you enjoyed the film or not, and comment. Let us know what your comments are. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And we're open for a healthy debate, or yes, we agree, or whatever you want to say, or just tell us we're pretty. Go ahead and comment and let us know what you think.
You're pretty, James.
You're pretty too, Marissa. Everyone, please have a safe, sane holiday season, because we need both right now. Safe, sane holiday season. I know many states, everything's different everywhere. We're in California. We're in LA County. It's very different here.
Yeah, we're back on lockdown.
I know, it's just like. So we're trying to stay safe and sane ourselves. Have compassion for others. Happy holidays, everybody. See you next time.